I'm Cole Viramontes. Grew up here in Deming, New Mexico, grew up on the farm. I know farm, it's in my blood. Grandpa started the farm in '53. Back then he used to grow mostly commodities. He grew cotton and beans and milo and stuff like that. As the farm progressed and my dad started to take over is when he introduced vegetables into the mix. Vegetables were really good for a long time. Today we've grown quite a bit. We're about 800 acres total. My dad really grew it into where it's at today.
When I decided let's try something different, I wasn't sure what it was. And I got to doing a little research and I said, you know, chili peppers sounds like we could probably make some money at them. I didn't know how to grow them at the time, but there was a cannery that was just starting up. Matter of fact, that cannery's been here ever since I started. And I knocked on their door and I said, hey, can I grow some chili peppers for you? And they said, what do you know about growing chili peppers? I said, I'm not too sure I've ever grown any chili peppers, but I probably can do it. It took me a while to finally, convince them, and they gave me a little contract, and the rest is history. We grew a lot more chili peppers since then.
As the farm progressed and it started to change hands, there was new technologies that were available, and my dad's always been one to not be the first, but not to be the last at what he's doing. He's always motivated to try something new to make it better. And he really switched the farm from flood irrigated to drip irrigation. And that really took our efficiency feeding the plants and utilizing the natural resources to a whole nother level.
We started doing that drip, way back in the late 90s. There again, I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it. So I thought, why not try it?
When I came back, I kind of just stumbled onto this sort of regenerative practice that we're doing today. We were really trying to get rid of a disease in one of the crops, and we started to learn about soil biology. And I wish I could say I just woke up one morning and figured it out, but we were trying these different soil biologies. We had a really good friend in Las Cruces that introduced us to what soil bacteria was. His name was Michael Solopek. That's kind of where we started to learn what it was. And it took a lot of years of trial and error to figure out what soil biology was good to put in and what, was just another product that didn't really do anything. It was a lot of trial and error, about 5 or 6 years worth. Now today, everything we do is soil focused. We're looking at the aim of the fertilizer is to build soil biology. And so what we've seen is the better the soil biology is and the better treated it is, the healthier the plants are and the less inputs we have to use. What we're trying to do is learn how to work with nature's natural cycles as opposed to working against them. Once we started focusing on our soil health, it was almost like a bonus that the pests weren't coming around. We kind of went from a preventative approach of utilizing pesticides to now it's more of a if we have to approach. We haven't completely eliminated pesticides, but we've been able to reduce them, and that's kind of where we're at. We're trying to see where we can keep removing more and more. It's a learning deal, and we've been 9 years into it now. The cover crops of what we're planting, we kind of look at what it's going to do to the soil, and if there's any kind of plants that, especially legumes, they'll fix nitrogen into the soil naturally. So if you utilize those in your cover, then you're kind of instilling some natural nitrogen, so you're not having to use as much synthetic nitrogen later in the season. That's a huge benefit, not having to buy as much, especially with as much as inputs have gone up in the last few years. The pecan orchard is the one crop where the cover is in it almost year-round. We let it go dormant in the fall just to make harvest a little easier. As soon as harvest is over, we put it into some kind of other cover. And the whole idea is just to have something living in the soil all the time. The cover crops will kind of create a symbiotic relationship with the trees. There's some things in the ground that the trees need that the cover crops are able to fix for them, and likewise it works the other way. The trees are really where we got started with the cover. We had a disease in the trees. We were losing trees every year, and the conventional stuff wasn't working, so we thought, okay, let's pump the biology in there and let's put cover crops in there and just see what happens. And We haven't eliminated the disease. We'll still lose a tree here and there, but we were losing about 20 trees a year, and now we're losing maybe 1 or 2, just by focusing on our soils. And that cover is great to shade the ground out, keep things alive. So we've been starting to implement cover into the rest of the field, implement it into our rotations. Instead of leaving fields dormant and fallow, if it's got some kind of cover where it's shading the soil out from the sun, then you're benefiting that soil biology, and then the next year's crop that you rotate in is going to reap the benefits of what that cover was able to do the year before. Everything we do today is through trial and error. I can't say that there's ever been a perfect year, where everything worked out good, everything went perfect, everything we tried went good. Farming is a practice, just like a doctor practices medicine and a lawyer practices law. It's ever changing. Every year we're always trying to make it a little bit better, see what works, what doesn't work. What we do around here is we're trying to leave the land better than the way we found it. Whether my kids take over or somebody else, ends up with this place, I want it to be in as best shape as I can leave it. And I know my dad feels the same way. Actually, those are pretty big shoes to fill, starting to take over from him, because he's done a lot and he's been incredible. And, he's my biggest hero, and I've learned the most from him. So,
well, receiving this Leopold Conservation Award is a big honor. I know the history behind Aldo Leopold. He has a forest named after him here in New Mexico, as a matter of fact. We try to practice the same things with our farms. We got to keep these farms healthy. So you can't just expect your farm to just do it on its own. You got to know how to feed the soil and keep it healthy.